This is From Courtroom to Carline, the podcast where we discuss life as a lawyer and a parent.
I'm Jenna.
And I'm Rick.
Your hosts and partners both in the courtroom and in parenting.
Join us as we navigate the fascinating worlds of law and family life.
Now, this is not legal advice, but in every episode, From Courtroom to Carline is a delightful blend of legal insight and parenting hilarity.
Get ready for a roller coaster ride where law meets love and where the gavel meets the car line.
Welcome back to another episode of From Courtroom to Carline, a legal parenting podcast. Today we have Gianvito with Jenergy Air Services. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
From to the show.
Yeah.
So Jen, tell our listeners what you do and how you got started.
Well, I'm an air conditioning contractor. I started working for my ex-father-in-law years ago, like in the office, just being like a dispatcher, answering phones and kind of learning about air conditioning. I learned that I'm really good with people, right? And talking on the phone. I have a very good phone voice, which I'm sure my voice is going to sound good on the radio too as well. And learned my way around people and air conditioning. Took a break for a little while and came back to work for him in sales. And I had to learn about air conditioning systems and I was like, how am I going to do this? You know, I don't know anything about mechanical contracting and refrigeration and stuff, but I learned how to sell air conditioners, and then I was doing in-home sales for a while. I realized soon that if we didn't have any calls, I didn't make any money. I had to have, appointments. So I started networking and joined all the chambers of commerce and many networking groups, and there wasn't any other AC people networking back then. I think I made it a trend now because it really works, right? So I started networking, and it was just creating all this business for him with people who were calling because we had a relationship and they wanted me to take care of their air conditioning needs, and saw a need just to start my own company. So I started my own company in 2015. With a former partner, and I just told my people, hey, I'm going to be doing it on my own, and we're going to call the company Jenergy, because that was my nickname. When you get to know me, I have a lot of energy, and so Jen and Energy just kind of,
I love it.
Energy savings, air conditioning. So that's how it got started. That was 10 years ago now.
Now, Jen, did you have to get your license in order to kind of transition into your own business?
Yeah, my former partner had his license, so we used his in the beginning. And I became licensed in 2022. I went to school. I was the only girl, 100 guys, and I did a year of weekends and really learned a lot while I was in school. And then I passed my test. I was so excited. It was like getting a college degree for me, I was like, I'm a licensed contractor. And so, yeah, that's how I got my license.
What advice would you give to females, wanting to go into a more male-dominated space?
Oh, man. I've hired some girls, and I've seen the way technicians treat women, and they just don't think they know what they're doing. And I just want to tell them just to be confident, because we all live with, what do they call it, imposter syndrome, right? And I feel like women who want to get into the trades probably have a little bit of that as well. But if you're confident and you speak with confidence, the guys won't mess with you. You just have to portray it, and people believe it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the marketing.
Yes.
So we met you at the Seminole Happenings Business Alliance.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell our listeners what that is and how that got started?
Oh, wow. So I noticed about 9 years ago that I was getting a lot of business from the Nextdoor app, which is an app that you download, you put your address in, and it goes within a 5-mile radius. And people were going on Nextdoor asking for trades, asking for roofing, and asking for air conditioning. And so I would go in, tag my business, and then I told my friends to join the Nextdoor app and just every day go on there and just check the feed and then recommend my business. And I was one of the very few AC companies on the app.
Wow. And
I was getting lots and lots of hearts. When you get little hearts, it means it moves you to the top.
Okay.
And then you win the Nextdoor neighborhood app favorite AC company, which I have 6 years in a row.
Congratulations.
But I thought there was a need for that. And I saw Facebook groups everywhere that were local and neighborhood related. I thought, I'll start my own. And there was a Palm Harbor Happenings. I'm like, is there a Seminole Happenings? And there wasn't. So I created the group and then just I had my friends and my networking groups go join it, and then just kind of organically it grew slowly over time. But I really narrowed it down to only local people. Like, you can't be in Seminole Happenings if you don't live in Pinellas County. If people, because I wanted to give the business to local businesses. So when neighbors are asking for roofers, I want them to be in Seminole, in Pinellas County. So we're not giving our business and our money to people from Tampa or Sarasota. And so I saw so many businesses joining the group and making lots of money off of Seminole Happenings. So I thought, why don't I start a business alliance so we can all come together and work together to serve our community. So it started out with just 5 or 6 people, and we were posting the meetings and stuff online, and over time more people were coming and joining, and it just became so big. I mean, now we have 100,000 members of Seminole Happenings. That's insane. It's a lot of work too, let me tell you. Thank goodness for my admins, because they do a lot of the screening, and because we don't let just anybody join. The Business Alliance turned into meeting 3 times a month, not weekly. It's just a loose relationship-based group. Just come, make friends, meet people that you can refer, get to know the person behind the brand, and a lot of friendships have grown from it as well. So that's what Seminole Happenings Business Alliance is.
Did you envision it growing to where it's at today?
No, I didn't think it was going to become the monster that it is today. No, but I'm really happy that it is. There's so many Seminole Happenings like groups now. One of them just stole our logo we saw, and we were like, what is going on here? But they're all trying to imitate us. But it's just the energy and the activity. If you go on a lot of other big Facebook pages that don't monitor the members as much, you'll see that the feeds are all just advertisements for duct cleaning and auto detailing and stuff, but you'll actually see so much engagement in comments and likes. When people post, the community really probably wakes up in the morning and goes to Seminole Happenings and then just starts commenting and reading and scrolling. So it's a very vibrant community page.
I know that a lot of people talk about, the coyotes and that type of stuff, but I will say we stayed for Hurricane Helene. We left for Milton, but I could not get off of Seminole Happenings because people were posting updates, and you just want to hear what's going on. And I probably should have gotten off it because it was just obviously heartbreaking to hear some of the stories, but it was just that lifeline when you can't watch the news because you're out of power, but you're on Seminole Happenings finding out what's happening in real time. Yeah.
And we really blew up during the hurricanes. Everybody was coming to the page to try to find out what was happening. And I think we gained 10,000 new members in a couple of months because of the hurricane.
So what did you do once it got so big? Because obviously you're trying to run your AC business.
Yes.
And then you've got this thing that you created that's becoming just a monster of a networking group. That's obviously taking time away from your business that you started, in AC. So how did you balance those two?
I have a great admin team. Our Kelly is the party planner. She is the one that makes the events page, and she's also she works from home, so she wakes up in the morning and she gets up really early, and she will go through all the people that are trying to join and approve or disapprove. I've got Matt Morey. He's a web genius, so I've got good people, and then Seth Michael Media. He's amazing too. He's very Facebook savvy and really understands it. So together, all of our little brains come together to create this just the bylaws and the rules, and if somebody is being a little off, where we all have a little chat that goes on, and if you could be a fly on that wall, let me tell you. But without their help it wouldn't be possible. Oh, and Meredith is Matt's wife, and she used to be an executive admin assistant. So she is on it. When everybody applies, she really goes through and does background checks on people. She gets their licenses, their insurances. She does criminal background checks and things like that to make sure that they're actually a good person. And then every year when they have to renew, she goes and asks for updates on their insurances too. So they're always submitting paperwork to make sure that they are staying licensed and insured. So she's great.
I will say it was when we applied, because we first came to a meeting before, because we were like, what is this? But everyone was very welcoming. The process was very easy. It definitely felt like a good fit for us, and we are very happy now to be verified businesses, verified business with Seminole Happenings. So I think you have a great thing going, and hopefully it continues to grow and help businesses in the community.
Yes, thank you.
And obviously it's successful and it helps all the business owners that are a part of it. Do you guys keep I want to say stats, but keep track of the money aspect of it. How much are people making, referring, things like that? Is there any sort of controls in place to
That's
sort of
funny
monitor
you just
that?
asked that, because we had an admin meeting last week, and we are going to send out a Google report, just if anybody gets a big job from it, to just send us like the amount of money, or maybe go back through your books to see what has generated from Seminole Happenings, because we want to be able to tell members, hey, since inception, we've, created $1 million in business for our community, it's so important. But we're trying not to be very structured and too rules-based, but we still want to see the success, and the success is obviously in the dollars and the relationships.
I love that. Switching gears real quick, going back to Jenergy, you just launched a commercial. Where can people see this commercial?
So I have a YouTube channel, because the only thing on it is the commercial right now.
It's a start.
It's a start, right? And also we're at the Seminole, or the Studio Movie Grill in Seminole. So if you go to the movies in Seminole, go a little early. It's the only full-on musical commercial at the movie theater, and it's also on our Facebook page, but not on our website, because it slows down, like the web's whatever. Yeah. So, but yeah, go to the movies or go to YouTube and look for Jenergy Air.
So you've got dancers in it, and I know I asked you before we started recording. I said, "Are those your technicians?" Tell us about that.
They are not my technicians. So this is my third commercial at the movie theater, and the last one had also had dancers in it. And our first take, I had my technicians do the dancing, but they didn't know. So I said, all right, tomorrow we're doing a commercial. I want you to shave your face, put on your cleanest uniform, and show up, and we're going to film a commercial. And they're like, okay. So they get there, and we're like, okay, your steps are 1, 2, 3, 4. And they're like, what? We're dancing? And they were awful. They were awful. When they played back the feed, I was like, all right, this is funny, but we just can't let this be. So I had to retake it with actual dancers. So
I will say I'm glad, I'm surprised and glad that they tried, though. They must really respect you to give the effort.
We put them on the spot, and my producer, Chris Jackson, was like, it's easy, guys. It's just 1, 2. And they were like, all right, they didn't want to say no, so they really had no choice.
But I feel like, too, now with all the TikTok and everything else, it's always a dance. It's very attention grabbing.
Yes.
Like, people want to see that. So I think that's great that, you went that route.
Yeah.
Why did you choose the dance route?
I love marketing. It's like I should have been a marketing executive instead of an air conditioning contractor, but I really want people to remember, and I want them to feel the friendliness that Jenergy Air Services is. I want them to see that, we're fun, we like to have a good time, and to be memorable. So I had in my head a jingle, because I used to be a choir girl when I was younger, and my daughter actually sings the jingle in the commercial too.
Oh, awesome.
She's a really great singer too, but there's a guy that I know through the chamber that he's a jingle writer, and we traded an AC repair for a jingle, and I gave him some ideas, and he just had the best jingle. And I've always loved commercials that have music in them, so I was like, we'll just put this to music. And then Chris had the idea of the dancing technicians and all the other things that happened in it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
We there's some commercials now that Rick and I, now that our kids are into toys and all the things that we remember from our childhood, but you get a good jingle, and that sticks with you. You know,
never forget it. Yeah, and people will see me in public and be like, "Oh, Jenergy Air Services," and I'm like, "Let's sing!" It's great. They remember the song. Yes. It's so funny.
It's crazy how much of an imprint that little 5-10 second jingles have on your brain for years to come. Yeah. Like, I can still in my head, sing Crossfire. The old toy where it's. I will never forget that. I'll probably be able to remember that when I'm 80, 90 years old. Just something about a jingle just imprints into your brain.
Yep. It just creates a memory and a feeling too.
Yes.
So if you need a good jingle, I got a guy. Just
perfect.
let me know.
All right.
He's local too.
I love it. When you're not, working in the business, on the business, what do you like to do to kind of let yourself think, give yourself a breather? What are you into?
I'm always at a meeting somewhere. When I want to relax, I love to travel. And my husband has a job that allows him to travel, and I can go with him.
Nice. Yeah.
And he travels internationally sometimes. In fact, he's in D.C. right now, and I couldn't go because I have to work. But I like to travel and cruise. Yep. I met my husband on a cruise, actually.
Oh, nice.
And so traveling is my way to unplug and put my phone away, and except for when I'm approving people on Seminole Happenings, and just relax or exercise. I love to go to the gym, and in a previous life, I lost 100 pounds. And so I'm like obsessed with staying fit and exercising.
I think it's so important too, the gym aspect, just to keep a sharp mind, just to be active. And in terms of the traveling, I don't know what it is, but I feel like when we go on a vacation, I get re-fired up to come back. I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I had my little break, but now I can think clearly. I want to get back into it.
Yeah. That's what I like about it too.
Yes.
And I always look ahead and look forward to it. It's almost like a goal that I see, or like the finish line is in sight that I'm working towards. So like, all right, I'm just gonna make it, 2 more weeks, and then we got our trip to wherever it is that we're going.
Yeah.
Yes.
It gets me excited and it keeps me motivated to, all right, keep grinding, because that's why, without the grind, you're not going to be able to do that trip at the very end. So, it's definitely a motivating force for me.
Yeah, I agree.
One thing I want to ask you, you have technicians working for you. How did you scale your business? How did you get to that point where you were starting to, add 1 technician, 2 technicians? How did that look?
Oh man, when one technician's schedule was so full that I had to have someone else, because if a technician has too many calls on their schedule, they're not going to be as thorough as they should be. And so as soon as I realized that I was getting bigger, I had to buy a truck and add a technician. And so yeah, it's just, you could tell by how much the work is, how much workflow you have, by how many technicians you need.
How are the growing pains with that? We have not added an associate yet.
Yeah.
We're at the point where we probably need to, but it's nerve-wracking to add on all of that extra expense. We know it will help us, but tell our listeners what they should have faith in to know that they're making the right decision to add that technician, add that associate. What was like okay, I can do this?
So I know more technicians is going to add more revenue to my business. If it's just, one guy, he can only make one guy's worth of income, and a good technician should be bringing in $100,000 a year. So I know that if I make the investment and I give them the proper training and have the right systems, that I will be adding that much more to my income. So it was just like, all right, you have to just bite the bullet, buy the truck, take the payment, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and then we find another one. But you just have to understand that revenue is going to come in if that person does what they're supposed to do and is a good employee.
Where do you see yourself in the business 5 to 10 years from now? Where would you like to see it?
That's a good question. I don't know. I would like to be like a medium-sized company with managers doing all the things that I do now, because I feel like I do everything, and people that I can rely on, so that I can just be able to travel and the business makes money by itself without me having to be there. So yes, I would like to add, and if anybody's looking for a job, like a service manager and an install manager, the guys that can motivate, train, and manage the company so that I can do more of this and more networking and and travel.
Yes. I think one of the things that we've been learning is, definitely have systems in place. It makes things a lot more easier.
Yeah, agree. That way things don't get forgotten or left out.
Yes.
One of the things that we've discovered, because we do both personal injury, trying to do more personal injury compared to the criminal defense practice. In criminal defense, you've got to be in court all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Only attorneys can go to court. In personal injury, it's not like that. A lot of it, most of it, is behind the scenes. And so when you look up a personal injury firm, you see that they've got, a legal assistant, they've got a paralegal, they've got case managers, and they've got, all the support team around them. And they're only doing the very important things, whether it's a trial or mediation or, just what only an attorney can do. And then everyone's kind of doing the rest or helping them prepare for, that big event that they've got to do. So that's one of the motivating, forces behind why we're trying to transition more to personal injuries, because you can delegate more to non-lawyers and, grow a business that hopefully, at the end of it can run without you.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
And there's a lot more money in personal injury than there is in criminal law.
And I think that, criminal, it's great and it's fun and it's sexy, but at the same time, personal injury, it's just a different pace, a different speed, gives us an opportunity to kind of turn on a different part of our brain.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's awesome.
Any books, podcasts that you're listening to, reading?
It's funny. I just finished a book called The Let Them Theory. And it's so great because when you're a boss and a mom and you've all these things going on and everybody is after you to do things and you want to control everything, because that's how I'm successful. I control everything.
Yes.
But if you let them make their own mistakes, it really helped me to balance all the things that I'm trying to do, and to also understand people need to make their own mistakes and let them be mad, let them, I don't know, it really helped me out. But also there's another one that I just read about writing stories. I can't remember what it's called, but it was about how the stories that we tell ourselves and the stories that we believe are what our life turns into.
Yes.
And to write a different story to have a better life.
Yes.
I don't know, I love those kind of books.
Yes, I am very big into reading. I don't self-help, self-growth, whatever you want to call it, but just kind of like you said, your story is what you make of it. And I obviously understand that there are some circumstances that happen to people that are not great, but at the end of the day, like, I try to always just have a positive mindset to know that, even if something's going wrong, just to try to stay positive and do the right thing, and hopefully things will turn around. And I feel like it's helped us, and I'm sure you feel like it's helped your business as well.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially the letting people make their own mistakes, and then the stories that you tell yourself, because every day you have that voice in your head that talks to you, and that's the story that voice is writing. And if you tell that voice to shut up and to go away and to tell yourself a different story, it could be a completely different day.
What is a piece of advice that you'd give to a new business owner or somebody, thinking that they might want to open up their own business, not necessarily trade related, but just in general?
Any business that you're in, people need to know what you do. They need to know who you are and how to find you. And I think networking was the biggest turn for me in my life. When I learned networking, because in a previous job I was also a personal trainer, I thought, gosh, if I could have been a personal trainer and learned how to network, I could have had a booked schedule and probably started my own firm or my own gym. And but if you get out and meet people and let them know what you do and why you're the best at it, and help other people in their business as well, it just comes back around like twofold. So it's just really, like when I finished my school and I got my license, all the guys that I met, they got their license, they got their business cards, they call me like, Jen, I got my truck, I got my license, I got my magnets in my truck, but I don't have any customers. And I'm like, you need to go to the Chamber of Commerce and join. You need to go find a BNI group and join. And people need to know who you are and what you do. Otherwise, your family will not refer you business. It's just you can't rely on your friends and family. Go out where people are also looking for networking or looking for leads and referrals, and help them, and they will help you. And they were always thanking me for that advice.
And I feel, and especially now, I mean, there's no reason that you can't network, especially with social media. I mean, even if you aren't going to the meetings, get on social media, do the videos. Rick is very good at making videos. I do not like to make videos, but it's like, I know I just need to get over that and make the videos, post the videos, let people know like who you are. Like you said, people hire people. They want to know who you are, that you do good work. But you are a phenomenal marketer for sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Fantastic.
All right, Jen, thank you so much for being on this episode of From Courtroom to Carline, a legal parenting podcast. One more time, tell our listeners where they can find you.
I am Jenergy from Jenergy Air Services. You can find me online at jenergyair.com, on Facebook, on Instagram. I got some great TikTok videos that are pretty viral. And also, you can call the office at 727-595-5366.
Perfect. Well, stay tuned for our next segment of What Happened to Florida Man. All right, welcome back to What Happened to Florida Man. A little different again for this season, but this story is actually from Canada. It was a man that was arrested back in 2012. His name is Frank Barassa. He owned a brake pad company, ended up getting, I guess, sick and tired of doing brake pads, and then ended up researching how to make counterfeit money. He took a year and a half researching the quality of paper that the U.S. uses, the security markings, called overseas to find a facility that made that specific type of paper for the money, found a dealer in Germany, got paper over to Canada and got a printing press, printed $250 million worth of fake $20 U.S. bills. Talk about a get-rich-quick scheme, but I don't know if a year and a half of research is necessarily quick. But he ended up, selling some of the money to probably not so great individuals, and one of them ended up being an undercover or there was a middleman involved, but they ended up following him. The Canadian government got involved. The U.S. government got involved because obviously it was U.S. money. He ended up spending 6 weeks in jail in Canada, got an attorney, and ended up making a deal that if he gave the remaining money back, they would dismiss the case. Obviously, this was a huge issue for the U.S. government, the world, really, to have all this amount of money just floating around. So they went with a convoy of law enforcement to a parking lot at a small hotel. A box truck was sitting there, and they got $200 million back in fake money. There was obviously $50 million outstanding that was unaccounted for. He did not confirm or deny that all of that was actually sold to a profit, so he might have, been let loose and has some money on the run. But Jen, obviously we're business owners. We want to own a business.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on his take of leaving his business and printing some money?
Well, for somebody who's lazy and doesn't want to work, he's put a lot of time into to researching and printing that paper. But I mean, gosh, I don't know. That's pretty impressive, actually. Like $250 million and all that work he put into it. And then he only did 6 weeks and he got away with maybe $50 million. He's kind of brilliant.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I told Rick, I said, I know we normally do Florida Man, but I came across this story on Facebook. I was like, let me look this up to see if it's even true or not. And it was. And just the mind that somebody has to do to be able to make actual counterfeit money that looks real.
Yeah.
Again, use your brain for something else.
He could have focused on his business or a different business instead of putting so much time and effort into breaking the law, but still, it's impressive.
It is impressive.
Yeah.
It's funny because you bring up the get-rich-quick schemes, and, we think of, criminals coming up with these get-rich-quick schemes, and you forget that, a lot of the big schemes take a lot of time, planning, preparation. It's not just, I'm going to print a $20 bill at home. He planned this out for, close to 2 years. So it's, again, you think to yourself, man, if you would have just applied that discipline to a legal trade, where you would be now. But he's got a good story to tell. And like we see, in our, society today, people that have, sort of bent the rules and got caught, they turn that into a story that, is something made for a Netflix documentary or something made for, a movie like Molly's Game or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think now, from what I was reading, he actually advises companies on fraud prevention. So, he was able to make some use out of it. So
that's crazy. Yeah.
Jen, thank you again for being on our podcast.
You're
and for our listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of From Quorum to Carline, a legal parenting podcast.